Hey, what's up guys? I hope you're doing well. So in the last tutorial, I showed you how to make this X-ray in Octane, and I want to show you how to do it in Cinema 4D. So it's not quite as easy as it is in Octane, but we'll get there. So I have a suitcase from our travel pack, and inside the suitcase we have a bunch of different weapons. So the first thing we want to do is make this suitcase see-through. So we have our material right here, and this is a default material in Cinema 4D. So the first thing we need to do is figure out how to see through this. So if we just check on transparency and we hit render, you'll see that it's not exactly what we're looking for. It's got some kind of weird stuff going on. It's not a standard kind of opacity slider. What I like to do is actually go and add a tag to our suitcase. So right click, go to Cinema 4D tags, and we're going to add a display tag. And if we click use, we have this visibility slider, and this is a little bit more standard opacity like you would see in After Effects. So if you put 50%, you should be able to see kind of through our suitcase here. And that acts a little bit more like you would expect it to. So we'll do something like that. All right, so now we can see through it. Now the next thing we have to do is add some color to the edges. So we need to find an effect that will add color to the edges and then sort of fade, and then towards the center of the object, you can see through it and there's no color. So we're going to go into our texture here, and in our color, we're going to twirl down texture. We're going to go to effects and ambient occlusion. So now if we add ambient occlusion, you can see that it's pretty standard ambient occlusion. You can see a little bit of shadowing there. Let's actually disable this tag for a second. Kick that back up to 100% just so we can see what's going on. So right now it's acting like a normal ambient occlusion. If we go into this, we have a invert direction in R18. So if we do that, it's going to start showing the edges in a little bit of a different way. And we're going to be able to dial this in to use for this X-ray. So let's play with our minimum ray length and our maximum, and then let's change the color to orange. So something like this should do, and now let's check it out. So now you can see that we're getting some color on the edges, but on the inside it's showing up as white. So something like this is going to get us pretty close to what we need. So let's check this out. So let's kick our visibility down a little bit, and let's see what that looks like. So now we're getting a similar effect where the edges are kind of orange and the insides are clear. So we'll definitely have to play around with this a little bit more. It looks like the ray lengths probably need to be tweaked a little bit, and then maybe kick up the contrast a bit. Let's see if that helps at all. Another thing that we can do is mess with this slider. So let's maybe bring this slider over this way so there's more orange on our model. See if that looks any better. So yeah, we're starting to introduce a little bit more orange into there, and that's looking pretty good. So now all you would have to do is duplicate this and go into our ambient occlusion color. We can maybe make this one a bright green, and we'll throw that on some of these guns inside, and maybe we'll make one more, and we'll make this one blue, and then we'll throw that on the other weapons. And let's do a render and see what that looks like. So this looks pretty terrible, so we definitely need to play around with the weapons here. So the ambient occlusion is not working well at all on these, so we need to play around with some of these ray lengths. So we'll go to maybe 5 and 30, and let's kick this contrast down a little bit. See what that looks like. So probably even 0 and 20. So it's starting to look a little bit better. We're getting the edges. Let's maybe even make it a little bit more pinched in. Maybe 15, something like that. So that's looking pretty good. Maybe we can take this tag and drop it on all of these as well, so they're also transparent. And then let's duplicate this blue one, and let's make this one green and replace the other green one with it. All right, let's uncheck the suitcase, do another render, and see if that's looking any better. There we go. So now we're cooking. All right, so now that's getting pretty close, and I think the rest can be done with just lighting, probably increasing some of the contrast and increasing the hue and saturation. Another thing is if you bring this into After Effects and add some sharpening, that'll add a lot of detail, so that's a good idea. But anyway, those are the techniques that you would use. Use a display tag and use the visibility on there, and then use that inverted ambient occlusion option, invert direction, and play around with that until you get it just right. and that should get you on the right path anyway. So I hope that you learned something. As always, thank you for checking out the Pixel Lab. We'll talk to you next time. Ciao.